I don't think this is the graduation ceremony any of you imagine. At a time when you should be celebrating all the knowledge you've gained, you may be grieving what you've lost. The moves you planned, the jobs you earned, and the experiences you were looking forward to. In bleak moments like these, it can be difficult to find hope. So let me skip right to the end and tell you what happens. You will prevail.
So the question is, how will we respond? Like I said before, I don't have any easy answers for you, but I do have some lessons I want to share about how to move forward in these tumultuous times. The first is this: life will always be uncertain. It is a lesson that most of us get the chance to learn over the course of years and years, even decades, but one that you're learning right now. This is a time in your life when it feels like everything is turned upside down. And perhaps you're wishing that things could just go back to the way they were. Look, I've been there many times in my life. I felt it most profoundly when my father and my best friend died within a year of each other. I was in my late 20s. Oh, and it felt like my whole world was collapsing in on itself. I would have given anything to bring them back. But that experience gave me a kind of clarity. With everything in pieces around me, I had to forge a new path. A path, fortunately, more focused on meaning and service. So graduates, I hope that what you're going through right now can be your wake-up call, that it pushes you not just to think about what kind of career you want to build, but what kind of person do you want to be? And here's the thing, you have the opportunity to learn these valuable lessons faster than the generations before you. And you can learn them together as a cohort of young people ready to take on the world, no matter how tumultuous it may be.
The thing is, class of 2020, what these past few weeks have also shown us is that the challenges we face go well beyond a virus, and that the old normal wasn't good enough. It wasn't working that well. In a lot of ways, the pandemic just brought into focus problems that have been growing for a very long time, whether it's widening economic inequality, the lack of basic health care for millions of people, the continuing scourge of bigotry and sexism, or the divisions and dysfunction that plague our political system. Similarly, the protests in response to the killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and Nina Pop aren't simply a reaction to those particular tragedies, as heartbreaking as they are. They speak to decades worth of anguish and frustration over unequal treatment and a failure to reform police practices and the broader criminal justice system. These shocks to the system that we're seeing right now, just as you prepare to go out into the world, they remind us that we can't take things for granted. We have to work to make things better. They remind us that our individual well-being depend on the well-being of the community that we live in. And it doesn't matter how much money you make if everyone around you is hungry and sick. It reminds you that our country and our democracy only function when we think not just about ourselves, but also about each other. So, as scary and uncertain as these times may be, they are also a wake-up call. And they're an incredible opportunity for your generation.
I know so many of you are not thinking about your time at school. You're thinking about what's happening right now in the present. You're thinking about marching and protesting and making sure that your voices are heard in a time that we cannot be silent. And I feel you so much. The world feels broken right now. It is broken right now in so many ways. But you're taking your heartbreak and your outrage and you're putting it into action, and you are showing that your generation is the one that's going to heal this. And I promise to always be by your side, no matter where the fight for justice takes us next.
In rewriting my speech, I asked myself how I viewed racism in America as it relates to graduation. When I looked past the rage that I feel about the systemic oppression and physical and emotional violence that has tortured the Black community endlessly, my mind turned to nature. When I think about racism in America, I imagine a broad forest filled densely with tall trees. Trees as old as this country itself. Trees that were planted with racist seeds. Trees that grew prejudiced branches and oppressive leaves and mangled roots that buried and entrenched themselves deep within the soil, forming a web so well developed and so entangled that pushes back when we try to look clearly at how it really works. This forest is where we live. It's who we are. It's the morals and value system that we as a society have upheld and emboldened for centuries. I make this analog between racism and nature in this country because it's as pervasive and as real as nature. It is some part of everything the light touches. But in this moment, all of us are being invited to challenge that system and think about how to affect real change. I believe in my heart that the people who are going to make this change happen are listening to me speak right now. I know this is true because it's you who are the seeds of the future. You are the seeds that will grow into a new and different forest that is far more beautiful and loving than the one we live in today.
Hey guys, Billy Porter here. I just want to talk to the LGBTQ class of 2020. You know, for some of you, school was not just a place to go, but it was a place where you learned how to lean into your authenticity. I'm so proud of you all. 2020 is the most open, loving, and supportive class to ever graduate. And I'm talking to the allies out there as well. So we thank you, we thank you. As you embark on your lives, know that love is the answer. Leading with that always is how we make change in this world and how we make it for good. I love y'all. Congratulations. See you in the world.
There's a funny thing about passions. They are uniquely yours. I grew up in Jim Crow, Alabama, where my family, because of the color of our skin, couldn't go to the same movie theaters or restaurants as our white neighbors. Despite the circumstances, my parents, who were educators, never allowed me to have limited horizons. Still, there was no reason that a Black girl from segregated Birmingham, Alabama, should want to be a specialist on the Soviet Union. So here's my plea to you. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't be passionate about something because of the color of your skin, or your gender, or the circumstances from which you came. It is your passion. Work for it, embrace it, and it will pay dividends throughout your life.